This particular track combination has not existed for too long, but however, in the time that it has existed, it's made its mark on the racing scene as one of the toughest road courses in the United States. We're at here none other than the Charlotte Roval with myself, Finny DeCuna, and Connor Horn. And Connor, typically I'm with you with stock car things, but tonight we have you filling in for Kyle because Kyle's fortunately doing real life things. But as always, you're a fantastic racer. Especially, I'm sure you've had some fun at this particular track in a stock car.
I've had some fun in this track, and I've had some tough times at this track, especially when it used to have the old crazy chicane down the back straightaway. It was wild times, but I still love the type of configuration we have now with the updated backstretch chicane, a little bit more racy. You have a little bit more of a passing opportunity down there. This is a fun racetrack. I love driving it. Really doesn't matter. I finished second in the LMP2 race here only a few weeks ago, and it was awesome to drive with all the downforce, but it's also fun to drive without the downforce with a big old stock car like you were talking about. I love the challenge. This is one of the more unique challenges that these drivers will have to face.
Absolutely, Aaron. Qualifying already underway here. The first few drivers in each class have started to put down some time. Take a look at Jake King in the 39, rolling around the racetrack, trying to put down his time. Currently on pole, see if he can improve, or anyone else, especially Paul Darling, one of the drivers that has usually been near the top of the standings. Did not have a particularly good week at Laguna Seca as they were rolling around.
He's looking to do better here. Already third for his time right now. Still got 2 more laps to put down. Goes even faster. Goes provisional pole by 1 second for the time being at 27.917. Not faster than his practice time. I'm sure we will see a lot more drivers pick up, especially Darling. I think he's still got a little bit left over these next few laps.
Yeah, looking our way on through here, and if you notice, some drivers in the Mustang class, their paint schemes, not the normal paint schemes they usually run week in, week out. Well, it's because this Mustang has just gotten a visual art upgrade in iRacing due to the new build. You can see it looks significantly better than the older Mustang with just a higher quality model. Consequence of that is that the old paint schemes for that car don't work any longer. So, unfortunately, with the build coming out yesterday, not a lot of guys have had time to either update their existing paint scheme or make a new one. I think the number 80, Andrew Rosencroft, he's currently was one of the few guys able to upgrade his paint scheme. We were trying to fix that earlier because I had everyone's old paint schemes and the cars looked all sorts of messed up. But I was able to get rid of their old ones, and so now everyone's car at least looks somewhat decent.
Yeah, everyone looked all the schemes were unique, to say the least. One thing that's unique is, if you could see on that Mustang, the rear rotors glowing us. But we go over to the Miata class, a few other very fast drivers in this class, including Ken Halseal, who's currently 10th overall on the board, but so far fastest out of all the Miatas by over 6/10, so looking really solid so far.
Yeah, I always expect Ken to be near the top of the standings, usually up with DJ Alessandrini at the moment, currently sitting in third, just a couple tenths off of Andrew Pilata, and Pilata quite a few tenths off of Ken Halseal. Well, Pilata was flying into turn 1, hard into the wall. I feel like we're going to see quite a bit of that tonight.
That heartburn turn is going to catch a lot of people out. It's not the heartburn turn anymore, but that's what I like to remember it as. All those iconic races in the Cup Series with drivers hitting it. It is now. It's like the DeWalt turn now. It's not that's in real life. But they scanned it when it was the Tom's heartburn turn, and that's what we got to remember it as.
Oh, I didn't even realize it changed it. That was such. I really like the. It just worked really well as the heartburn turn. Made a lot of sense, but I guess now it's DeWalt tools. I guess
DeWalt something. DeWalt wall. I don't know.
Looking at Kyle Hurst coming around NASCAR 3 and 4. Seeing if he can improve his time. He's almost a second off of Paul Darling. That's quite a bit of a gap. Hurst on his final lap, actually coming to the line here to complete lap number 4. These guys have 4 attempts. This is the last one for Hurst. Up and over the curbs. 28.6, not going to be fast enough for pole, so he will have to settle for that. Jake King's also finished his qualifying attempts, and he will be up into third. Call it quits after that. Morgan Burthart, number 2, I have to mention him as he goes, not really cutting the course, just really taking advantage of the fact you don't get penalized for going below the blue line there.
Yeah, there's a white line entering oval turn 3, and if you're below that after that white line, I believe we might see penalties. So that's really where you have to get back onto the surface. Heard that in the pre-race meeting as we see Burkhardt using all of the curb. We're going to see both the Miata and the Mustangs using all the curb they can. Nothing really to worry about suspension-wise as long as you hit it right. Burkhardt dirtied that lap a little bit, so that will not count as he'll stay second overall in the Miata class.
Taking a look at DJ Alessandrini flying his way around the back stretch into the chicane. We talked about literally flying to the chicane. I think DJ might have gotten. I'd be surprised if he didn't get a cut penalty or something going through there. We mentioned used to be an older chicane. That was a lot more terrifying.
Could you imagine if we were driving that tonight at nighttime? The stars, the fist would be flying with how the chicane was. That chicane was pretty fun, but also very ridiculous. I'm glad we have what we have now, as Alessandrini using all of the curbing, really flying over the final chicane as he's going to come to end his lap. It did count, but it was faster, but not good enough for pole. He has to settle for second.
Yeah, not enough to improve, so he's going to have to settle down, as you mentioned, for second place at the moment. Not a whole lot of guys still out there qualifying, or mostly everyone's complete. Andrew Rosencroft in the number 80 machine comes across the line. 30.8, it's going to be an improvement. I don't think improved his position, though.
It did not. He stays seventh.
Yeah, so you'll have to settle for that. Trying to take a look at other guys out there qualifying. Ryan Dunham in the number 11 machine. Out there, lap number 3 for him. Murphy Nichols in the number 5. He's on his final lap.
Murphy knew this guy's got 5 minutes to go, so as long as he can get these laps in, they should have no problem finishing them. Murphy usually got really close to that right side wall. I'd usually try to get to the left more to set up those apexes, but he tried to keep it nice and tidy as he's going to just get as close to that tire barrier as he can on exit, as close to the outside wall on the entry to oval turn 1, as we're going to see a lot of that pushing the issue at that tire barrier getting back onto the oval. It's always fun and always a little bit scary to see those guys pushing the limit like that.
Oh, it definitely is. He comes flying onto the back straightaway now. And into the chicane. Goes flying up and over the curves. Yeah, the previous chicane, it was a lot more. It actually didn't. I don't even think cut any. They pushed the walls back at any part of the track. They left the walls where they were, and you just had. It was kind of like a little. It was a quick left, right, and then a left. It was a very small bus stop chicane, and you could almost take it at full speed if you were courageous enough.
Jimmy Johnson did, but look where it got him into a final chicane where he messed up. Remember all those practice crashes? Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace with huge crashes because of how close they pushed those tire barriers. Murphy Nichols' final lap didn't count there, by the way. He dirtied it, but that was such a crazy time. I'm surprised that even made it to the first Roval race, let alone running it at all, but it's definitely, like we keep saying, glad we have what we have now, because not only is it a little bit of a cleaner chicane, but it's also a much better passing opportunity where you have a chance to outbrake the guy you're right behind. I think it's great for racing overall.
Yeah, it provides much more of a passing opportunity because, again, you would only want to pass in the previous version of that chicane if you had a death sentence, because it was basically a game of chicken. Arguably, the current chicane is still also very much a game of chicken, but the before is only one person can make it through there at a time. You could not go through there side by side. So, and that led to just a really high level of attrition. And usually we always talk about attrition when we come to the Roval because it still leads to a lot of attrition when it comes to the drivers wrecking out, usually on different parts of the track, but even the current chicane, because of the way, high speed braking nature, it typically leans itself into causing quite a few accidents.
Looking at Ryan Dunham, he's actually the last driver who's going to put down any sort of time. Murphy Nichols, Jack Chrissy, Christopher Moody, they dirtied all their laps, so those two won't get any time down. Ryan Dunham's going to be the last one to put that down anything. Puts him in his class, trying to see.
10th in class.
10th.
That is effectively going to end qualifying here for the Washington Region SCCA. So we get ready we pretty much just kind of wait around here. We got 2 minutes left in the session. No one else there is going out to qualifying. Christopher Moody's actually eligible to put down a time. Not sure if he's in the server, just electing to not qualify. I mean, I would say it definitely can't hurt to qualify here.
Is he in the session? I don't think he might not make it into this session is what his issue is right now. So it's 23 drivers who put down a time and 25 in this session. We'll see if Christopher Moody can make it in, but he definitely won't make it in to put any sort of time down for sure.
And just kind of waiting now for the session to advance here. But the Roval coming up here, 30-minute event with, again, this being a mixed class race, you talk about, especially at the tracks where passing is a bit difficult. It can lead to some interesting things occurring on track. We talked about tracks like Summit Point, Brands Hatch, tracks that are not typically the best for overtaking. Can lead to quite a lot of chaos when it comes down to it, making those passes against a faster or slower car. I think here we could be in for some chaos between the two classes.
It's going to take a little longer than normal. Usually in multi-class races, we see those slower traffic very quickly, but it's not going to be the case. The Miatas and the Mustangs, not really separated much on pace. The fastest Mustang, Paul Darling, is only about 5 seconds faster than Ken Halcyon, so it's going to take probably 13 or so laps to get to those much faster guys, but definitely way faster to get to the guys at the back like Donald Louie, Adam Koback, who did not qualify as well. So we might not see those guys until the very end when the Mustangs are battling for the win.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing, too, is, seeing when they catch up, how much of an issue is it going to be? Because, you mentioned not a whole lot of difference between the classes. I think it's definitely going to be a lot easier to pass, as you mentioned, the guys that, aren't as quick. I think that's where the leaders are going to have an easier time, but I think against the guys that are as quick, or are pretty quick in the Miatas, if they do even catch them, too, I guess that's kind of us just assuming that they will catch them. Last week at Laguna Seca, the leaders did not, and the Miatas did not get overtaken. The top two managed to steer clear of the leaders. They did not get overtaken, got to complete the same amount of laps as the leaders in the Mustang did. So we'll see here if that's going to change or if anything's going to be different.
You'll have to wait and see. It might change up the trajectory of how they race if they get lapped or not. So that's going to be interesting once we find out. But besides that, we got everyone qualified. Everyone who's here is here to ready to race, and we're ready to go.
Indeed, we'll come back here with your starting lineup. Starting on pole, it's going to be Paul Darling in the Mustang class. Next to him, Kyle Hersigan lining up in second place. Moving on back, row number 2, Jay King, the 39, Todd Rushing, the 13, in fourth place.
Then the next two rows, Mike Leader in the 53, Trenton McMillian in the 14, and then right beside them as they line up the way they do in the final chicane, Andrew Wozencraft in the 80 and Louis Lacey in the 43.
Yeah, and then behind Louis Alessi is going to be ninth place Jonathan Crane in the number 18. It's the last of the Mustangs. Then we head off to the Miatas. First place is going to be Ken Steele. This is always the annoying thing. We always have an odd number of Mustangs, so it always ends up offsetting the grid for the Miata class. We've had, I think 1 week where there was an even amount of Mustangs. But in behind Ken Steele is going to be DJ Alessandrini in second place. Morgan Burkhart in third place in the 2-car.
And then right behind them, a few more fast drivers, Andrew Pallotta and Sam Scott, share a row between those two. And then behind them, Peter Lauzon and Caleb Patry on the next row.
Solid qualifying efforts for both of them. Back in 8th place, Wojtek Hajicek in the number 9 machine. Kevin Zhu in the 243 is going to be running in 9th in class.
And then right at the 10th row, Ryan Dunham in the 11 is going to be alongside Colin Daner in the 20. Only a 10th separating those guys' qualifying laps.
Very close on the grid. And back in behind them, Andrew Chow is going to be lined up in the 29 car in 12th. Adam Kovac in the 85 in 13th. Donald Louie is going to be lined up in 14th in the 24. And Jack Christie in the 6 in 15th.
And then rounding out everyone on the grid is Murphy Nichols, who's pretty much going to start shotgun on the field with Christopher Moody not in the session. So officially, we should have 25 drivers starting this race tonight, Vinium.
And you can see them all rolling off the starting grid. Again, notably, too, these guys are going to have to work through the chicane coming to the green. Also, now the pace car lights are not on.
He doesn't need them.
You could always use that meme from Cars, track's always lit. Not necessarily in this case. The infield is definitely not in the infield. A bit surprised. I feel like that's a bug. I could have sworn the pace cars should have their lights on, so I don't know. Well,
because the oval's lit, maybe that's why it doesn't have the lights on, because the oval's lit.
I guess, but still, even at nighttime, all the other cars should have their lights on. I don't know. Anyway, something to look into.
Just call iRacing. Call Kevin. Maybe
I was going to say call Kevin. Kevin too. Member of iRacing staff. Not sure if that's necessarily supposed to be a secret or not.
I
But
don't think that's his field, but we could. There's been
no,
times.
it kind of is. It kind of is his position.
There's been times in the SimTV Discord, Kyle will say, "Kevin, do this," and Kevin gives an answer. Either I'll try to do it, and Kevin, or Kevin's like, "I can't do that. I literally can't do that."
Yeah, I mean, I figure, but no, I don't know. It's usually easier just to blame Kevin. Anyway,
Kyle does.
Kevin's awesome, and what he does for iRacing is involved in testing, kind of Q&A. I guess Q&A. I'm not sure if it was Q&A is the best.
QA?
QA. There we go. I think that
Quality
QA
assurance,
quality
is that what you're
assurance. That's what. Not question and answer. Quality assurance
No,
was the word.
he does a podcast where he gets asked questions. Check him out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a vital part in helping, and he has looked into a lot of stuff we sent him, so it was definitely very active in that respect. But we'll see these guys get active here. Pace car working through the backstretch now. You can see the separation between the Mustangs and the Miatas before they go green. Take a look at the weather we have for tonight's race. Air temp 77, track temp 79. It's cool as it's probably going to get, humidity 4 degrees, and some wind coming out of the northwest. As we get lined up here, Paul Darling's going to be leading them on down again in the brand new artwork, I guess. No, I wouldn't say brand new Mustang. I wish we had the brand new Mustang. That new Mustang looks absolutely awesome, but this is the older Mustang, looking a little bit nicer here as the pace car is just about to pull off.
We'll see how good of a lead Darling can get early on. It's important to get a jump. Don't want to be side by side through these tight corners.
Absolutely, definitely not. I'm sure he's going to wait till the last possible second to get going here. There we go, green flag out as they come through the chicane. See these guys up, hopping over the curbs, and they are green here at the Charlotte Roval.
It looks like they're going to get through cleanly, and back behind them, back in the chicane, it's Ken House-Seal who's going to lead them to the green, and they're waiting a little bit longer, and House-Seal finally away.
Off they go, and here comes the Miata field for their start in behind. Taking a look, Ken House-Seal leading them on down. DJ Alessandrini side by side with Burkhart as they head off into turn 2. Ooh, some contact between the two.
Looks like Alessandrini squeezed him out. Burkhardt wanted the space, but Alessandrini not willing to give it up as a little bit more of a mad scramble between all the Miatas because of a little bit, there's not a little bit, there's a lot more of them, and they're trying to scramble for space.
Also looking to scramble here near the top of the charts. Paul Darling not able to get away from Kyle Hurst and Jake King. Really arguably the three best drivers in this class. Usually at the front week in, week out. See if Paul Darling can try to escape their clutches here. They head to the chicane, the backstretch chicane for the first time.
Looks like Darlin's looking to protect a little bit. Jake King's looking to attack. Herbst is not going to let him. Herbst deep on the brakes, maybe a little bit too deep, but he gets through cleanly. Jake King a much better exit as he's going to try to get him maybe into the front stretch chicane there.
Yeah, he's definitely got a solid run in behind. Going to use a little bit of slipstream perhaps to try to catch back up. He's bump drafting even down towards the front stretch chicane.
And it's legal. It's illegal. You say it's illegal in NASCAR, but they don't really police it in the super speedways. Looks like Murphy Nichols had a little bit of an incident in the back, but he gets back going. Andrew Palada's slow. He's dropped back into Miata field. Looks like he got turned into that backstretch chicane.
Take a look and see what happened. Who got a hit from Sam Scott entering the chicane up and over the curbs. Almost got beached there. You see everyone taking evasive action to avoid him. Pallotta losing a huge amount of spots.
Really great job for everyone to avoid him. That could have been way bigger. He was basically in the middle of the chicane, but a bunch of drivers did a good job to avoid. Here comes Jake King really pressuring Herbst for the second position in a Mustang class.
Yeah, taking a look at the Miatas real quick, though. Top three also nose to tail, so very tight battles near the top of the orders. What do you exactly want to see here as they work through the infield section? Taking a back look, as you mentioned, in the Mustangs, you would argue the entire top five all nose to tail.
Yeah, all five really still in it, but like you said in the Miata class, these top three are really who to look out for. House-Seal, Alessandrini, and Burkhardt already about 2 seconds away from fourth place Caleb Patry. And Patry's really all on his own. There was a big stack up when Pallotta got spun, I assume. So it's really gotten Miata class all sorts of jumbled up, and those top three are gone.
Yeah, taking a look at the other guys in behind, Patrick Daner, Lauzon, and also Kevin Zhu here in seventh. Decent way in behind the leaders. Speaking of which, as they head into the back straightaway, Ken House-Seal trying to defend from Alessandrini and Burkhardt. Curious to see what these guys are going to do, if they're going to try to make a pass on the 23, or if they're just going to kind of sit in behind as they go flying up over the curbs.
I love how much they're using of it. I've never seen any sort of car just manhandle the turtles, as they say they are here at the Charlotte Roval like that. They're using literally all they can of it, and it looks like these three are really not in a hurry to battle. They're just trying to make sure it's these three to the end for the race win.
Taking a look back up at Mustang's leader, you just saw him getting past Todd Rushing in turn 1. See the rear brakes glowing on these Mustangs. It's big, heavy things, hard to slow down.
It doesn't take much to get them glowing. We saw it even in qualifying on 4 laps only. It does not take much to get these things heated up, and it shows how much they're having to use to get through the corners with a decent amount of pace. Really, every Mustang you see has the same issue.
See these guys come flying up onto the straightaway yet again. Taking a look back in the Miata class, seeing how things are going. DJ Alessandrini close in behind Ken Howe Seal. Taking a look further back in class, Jack Chrissy trying to catch up to Kevin Zhu here. Battle for 7th place in class.
Looks a little bit faster, but wondering if he's going to want to battle him or maybe try to catch Peter Laus and Colin Daner and the others up ahead in class, as Wojtek Hajicek leads the pack behind them. And then it's Andrew Pilata, who's sort of on a recovery drive right now.
Yeah, I was just able to get by. You're looking back at the 29, Andrew Chow, who he just passed for 10th place. And as you mentioned, on that recovery drive, trying to make up spots. Can't imagine he's too much of a happy camper. Lost 10 positions after that spin, so he's trying to chase his way back up to 4th.
Kevin Zhu did get past, so Chrissy decided not to bump draft him or anything like that. He believes he's faster. He's going to try to get away from Zhu a little bit here, as those two are going to stay bumper to bumper and catching Lauzon anyways because they're just barely in his slipstream.
Riding on board with the 243, trying to catch back up to Chrissy. Flying on the straightaway, and me and Kyle usually talk about how much this generation, these older Miatas, don't quite draft as well as the newer ones, so... although, while they don't draft as well, they still draft pretty well. As you see Pilata trying to make work on Hajicek as he goes up and over the curbs, arguably almost too well. But looks like he didn't get a penalty. He's going to get a little bit of a run, move to the inside, and try to have a move up in turn 1.
Yeah, I think he's faster than all these guys. I'm interested to see if these guys work with Pilata, or even if they can keep up with him, because they're about to battle on their own. Hajicek seems to be holding a few of these guys up. Andrew Chow, Adam Kobach, surprising to see him back there, and Ryan Dunham all in this pack, trying to find a way by the 9 machine.
You can see them all getting stacked up, as you mentioned, and already moving through. No incident there, although there seems to be an incident. Jonathan Crane, I think, was in the wall. See what happened to him. As he's exiting the oval, exiting the infield section, goes flying hard into that wall.
Wow, that was an odd hit. I've never seen that at that wall. What in the... That does not physics, to say the least. But that's a rough hit, and it's unfortunate at the end of his day. Ryan Dunham, who we are just watching, has gone into the pits as well. He's had an issue.
Take a look back and see what happened to him. Oh, same thing. Hit the same wall.
That wall's got a magnet on it, but literally, like you said, the same exact thing. At the point where they hit the wall, it's almost like, you know, those updates they did to prevent people from Ross Chastaining? I feel like that's what's causing that. And I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
I think friction on the wall is doing something to that.
Was that a universal upgrade or just to the...
I believe so. It was. I believe it was an update to the wall physics. I'd have to check because I had it on my phone, but I would assume they did it everywhere, but that's not a place where it's needed for sure. It took Kyle Larson out of the playoffs, that same wall. So that's unfortunate because, yes, that would have done a lot of damage, but it wouldn't have almost flipped them.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on there. On the back straightaway, though, an exchange of position between Kyle Hurst and Jay King. Not sure what happened here.
I think it was an exchange. We'll see here. Looks like Herbst's a little bit wide. Jake King's been chasing this 89 machine down, but hasn't found a way to get by and is starting to lose a little bit of touch, as both these two have lost touch to the race leader, Paul Darling. Darling out of any chance of getting slipstream passed by these two right now. Yeah,
Darling doing a really solid job, has completely taken off, as you mentioned. You just doesn't even have to worry about these guys now. He's got a little bit of a gap. Meanwhile, Herbst does not only have to try to race down Darling as he goes into the wall, he's got to worry about Jay King hot in pursuit and behind him.
Yeah, these Mustangs really seeing how hard it is to handle them, bouncing around really every corner.
Jay Chrissy sideways through the chicane was working on passing Peter Lauzon, I think, or Lauzon was working on the 6. Either way, they're going to be side by side now on the oval, and behind them, Colin Daner and Kevin Zhu also side by side. This can get interesting real quick.
Yeah, Lauzon was trying to defend. Chrissy went a little wide out of the chicane, so Lauzon not willing to give it up as they're going to go too wide through here. Lauzon's going to get the curb there, and Chrissy really hit it wrong, and they're going to go 3 wide down the front straightaway. Daner's by, and Zoo's trying to follow suit.
Wow, and Jack Chrissy just lost 3 positions in essentially one corner, so he's not going to be happy with that. All the way back to 8th for him. And I think the 29 of Andrew Chow, I think, might have just had an incident in turn 1.
Oh, he's spinning again, barely. He actually saved it, but looks like he might have just been slow.
Let's taking a look back at this. Talking about a spin. Oh, yeah, caught on the grass there. We're not in Tokyo, Andrew.
He tried his best. As we got a battle for second in the Mustangs. Jake King's finally by. They're bumping and banging. Herbst can't do anything about it this time.
I was gonna say, I think they looked like they were beating and banging like they were last night, if you know what I mean, where they were phasing through each other. Thought they were there for a second here. They worked their way on through. Jake King, Kyle Hurst, Mike Leader also in the thick of this battle now.
Herbst got some damage. Couldn't see where that was, but definitely happened on the last lap. I think, oh yeah, that was Herbst hitting the wall out of 1. So that must have really hurt his performance to let Jake King get close enough to make the move, as Herbst got a little bit of a bumper. As you can see, the rear end of that 89 is pretty much destroyed.
This car is all sorts of messed up as he's trying to work on the back of King, and he's getting really physical with him as well. I just saw him give him the bumper there. Also was murdering some cones on his way on his pursuit. Oh, he got a great run out of the infield. You can see the headlights all up in the mirror off the wing of Jay King as he's trying to hold off a hard charging Kyle Herbst.
And it was Herbst who got the bumper from King in the backtrack chicane last time by. We'll see what happens between these two this time.
You see King not giving a lot of room. Going to take the tight line, defensive line, into the chicane. Will hold off Hurst and Mike Leader in behind, sitting licking his chops here. These guys have lost a lot of time. 5 seconds behind the leader, Paul Darling.
Yeah, there's almost no chance they can get the Darling without something crazy happening. Jake King is going to pretty much give Kyle Herbst driver's left here, as he's going to look to go way over the chicane, the first curb of the chicane, and just get back clear of Herbst. Herbst tries to stick it in there. Wow, that was tight. Jake King was able to make it work, though.
I was going to say, Herbst got lucky there was a gap there, otherwise he could have spun out Jake King. So go flying into turn 1. Herbst, wow, almost pit maneuver Jake King there. They're fighting awfully hard for the spot.
Yeah, this is definitely, it looks like a race for the win, but the leader is long gone. Paul Darling is putting down amazing laps right now. As Ken Seal, the race leader, spun out of the backstretch chicane or something. Oh, no, he blew his engine. His engine blew.
This is very uncharacteristic for Ken Seal to make a mistake like this. This is him coming to the chicane, as you mentioned. Oh, yeah, you heard it right there.
Wow, it shifted down too much, I assume? That is a huge mistake. And Jake King is wrecking. It finally happened. Kyle Herbst, I think, might have turned him.
Oh boy, there's too much happening to keep up with. Trying to find where is King.
Let's see what happened here. Oh, this happened way earlier.
Yeah, so he spun off, went wide, hit into the 53. How did Herbst end up behind them, though, is my question.
I guess we'll have to find out. Here they come. Herbst looking for the move, trying to over-under.
Oh, they make contact there. Herbst goes into the wall. There you see Todd rushing in the white car in the middle of all this, and there's King coming flying back on, and that was in front of Mike Leader. So
that's
a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos going on. So now here's the new leaders in the Miata class. Now Alessandrini and Burkhart. I still can't get over Ken Seal. It's a very uncharacteristic mistake for him there. I saw McMillan just getting by. Jay King down in pit lane as he comes with that destroyed 39 car. He's got to get repairs. So Paul Darling off to a very solid lead now, 13 seconds, because all the rest of his competition is pretty much wrecked out.
Yeah, Jay King, his car is very towed out, so it's going to take a while to repair. I wouldn't be surprised to see it be required repairs, and it's unfortunate for Mike Leader as well, who's an innocent bystander, all that. Nothing he could do there, but as you said, Darling well away with the lead, and Todd Rushing well away with second place. He was able to keep his car clean through all of that, and he's got no pressure from Trenton McMillan.
For the leader in lead in Miatas, there is Burkhart working his way on through, flying through the chicane, almost hits the wall. That was a lot of commitment through there. He somehow made it work, although he's still going to get passed by Alessandrini, or potentially passed, as they head off into turn 1, still side by side for both of them. I think now that Ken's out of the picture, they can take their gloves off.
Oh yeah, this is good stuff. They really have no reason to not battle at this point. Caleb Patry, 7 seconds back at the least, and he has no partner to really help him through there. Lauzon's 9 seconds back, but they're battling very, very hard for 5th in class in Miatas. Colin Daner, Andrew Pallotta, Jack Chrissy, all in a row.
Yeah, and Pallotta again on that recovery drive up into 6th, so he's been a pretty decent recovery for the number 96. Though he's usually up there, typically around where Burkhardt, Alzanuni, Patry are, so I think he's just trying to see if he can get closer to them before races end, although this race is passing me pretty quickly, 16 minutes left.
And he doesn't look like he wants to really bump draft on the oval. He wants to get by now, looking right, left, looking for any lane he can get, but Daner denying him any sort of chance, and Daner's dealing with damage. You can see the left front a little bit damaged and that wheel sticking out. Pallotta got a bad run onto the oval, and Jack Chrissy's going to take advantage.
There's Jack Chrissy moving to the inside. We'll get past the 20, and now you can see Daner. That damage is really going to be hurting him. I think he's got some nose damage, potentially engine damage as well. Definitely not doing any favors on what is essentially a straightaway in the oval section as it gets broken now by the chicane. Deep on the brakes, roll 3. Oh, and Chrissy going flying over almost into the wall.
They're both, all three of them, catching back up to Peter Lauzon, who is just in a battle of his own, but now all on his own, trying to stay ahead of these guys.
Thinking looking like leader back out on the track. Is that Mustang fixed? I'm going to assume with a fast repair because it looks brand new. Drilling back 17th overall, 8th in class. So he's working through Miata traffic, and this is going to be tough.
Yeah, really not where he wants to be right now. There's not much he can do.
Oh, and actually, I was going to say, I was just wondering, where's Paul Darling? Because I figured he would probably be catching traffic by now, and there he is. Working up, I believe that is the 29 of Andrew Chow.
Yes.
One of the first cars in the Miata class. Not a lap down, but that'll probably change soon here in a few corners.
Halcyo's back on track. He's taking his fast repair, but 22nd overall for him. As, yes, we are starting to see the leader get through a little bit more of these guys. Mike Leader's going to get out of the way, not hamper Paul Darling at all. Murphy Nichols up next, but he's in his own battle for 15th with Wojtek Hajicek, excuse me.
Yeah, no, it's a hard name to say the first couple times. Believe me, I've had my issues with it. Taking a look at Darling riding on board with our race leader. So he's got Miata's battling for position. He's going to catch him on a straightaway here, so should have a bit of an easier time.
That battle for 4th in the Miata class is not too far up the road either. Lauzon's under pressure from Jack Chrissy now as Pallotta's not as close to these guys, but they're bumper to bumper into the chicane.
Off they go, riding off the back bumper of Lauzon here. He's got Chrissy and Pallotta, both guys really hungry for a position. And looking a bit quicker than the 56 at the moment.
I think they are quicker, but they just can't find a way by. I like Lauzon's paint scheme. It reminds me of the Jeff Gordon scheme, but in reality, it's probably more like the Kyle Petty scheme because it is a Hot Wheels car, and it looks very solid. It looks solid in front of these guys right now, pretty much playing follow the leader, and he's the leader, but he's not going to be leading for much longer. Chris, he got a good run.
Chrissy got a good run. He thought he bailed out of it for a second, went back to the inside. A little bit of a late lunge. He's going to get there. They make it on through. 56 almost going flying to the wall. Still going to be side by side, and Chrissy looks like he's going to clear for just a second. Off into turn 3, and Lauzon comes back at him.
Lauzon's not going to let him go easily, but Chrissy should have enough of an exit here to clear, but he's going to go a bit too wide. Lauzon's going to be able to stay there, but Chrissy still has enough to clear him. He's going to make sure he's clear. Lauzon's trying to stick it to the inside. Chrissy shut the door.
There they come flying up through turn 6 now, up and over the crest, then back down the hill they go, and back on the oval section. So Chrissy's going to stay ahead, but this is where Lauzon can try to fight back here. And even Pallotta, for that matter. Pallotta has a chance now with a run onto the oval.
And the two leaders in this class are still bumper to bumper. Burkhardt and Allison Drini sort of trading blows, but Burkhardt's still leading all the way as these two try to keep going in the direction they were going. They're still pulling away from Caleb Patry as Ken Halcyon tries to get back up to the leader. Says, oh, Chrissy's turned in the chicane.
Oh, and the leader, Paul Darling, narrowly makes his way on through. Daner gets in contact. There's leader snaking his way through in his Mustang. That was almost disastrous for the race leader there. Let's take a look and see what happened.
See, Lauzon behind him. He just overcooks it.
You see 6 sliding his way on through. Held the brakes. Darling just sneaking his way on by. You're going to have to see a look on that from Darling's point of view.
Yeah, that must have been insanely close. And I assume Daner couldn't see the car because of the Mustang in front of him. That was insanely close to being race-ending. My goodness. As Chrissy just got by Lauzon because Lauzon had to slow down because he missed a chicane completely. As I'm sure those two aren't happy with each other, but they're right next to each other now as we look at the more important battle up to the leaders as Alessandrini and Burkhardt still all on their own. 2 of the last 3 to get lapped. Caleb Patry is the only other driver not lapped by the Mustangs.
Yeah, I was going to say the Mustangs working their way a little quicker this time through the order. Taking a look, this is that kind of giant group of Miatas that now gotten together. Wojciech Hajicek leading this group in 6th place. Chrissy Nichols, Peter Laus, and Andrew Chow all in this group of 5. And then we were just taking a look back up at the leaders in the Miata class. DJ Alessandrini just getting by, I think, the 2 of Burkhardt.
So it looks like he has gotten by, and Burkhardt had the lead. Alessandrini got it last time by at the line, and Burkhardt really lost a lot of time. Alessandrini got by him and put down a decently sized gap. So Burkhardt's got to hustle a little bit here. Has to make sure he stays within striking distance with the slipstream once they get onto the oval.
Curious to see what they did last time by as well. Taking a look at DJ's last time was a 133.8. Burkhardt 133.8 for him, and just a couple, just a few thousandths quicker.
Peter Lau. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff happening out of a final corner. Hajicek and a few others just wrecked out of a chicane. I think Murphy Nichols went thing.
Yeah, that was Murphy Nichols we were just looking at. So start wrecking as they got into the chicane, trying to see if we can get who was mainly Voljack Chrissy in the 9. 9-1 on the wall. 6 getting sideways. They're still good here. Oh, there we go. As they come back on, all 3 of them make contact up and over into the banking and 4-0 roll. That was Murphy Nichols in the 5.
And that was probably caused, I think Murphy must have been scared to not to get to that white line, because if you are under the blue line, once you get to that white line coming up, you get a penalty. So he must have been trying to force his way up, but there just wasn't room.
And up and over he goes. Oh, that's vomit-inducing.
Yeah, not what you're expecting to see inside a Miata.
There ends Murphy Nichols' day down in pit lane. We'll see if he gets back out there. Not a whole lot of time remaining. 9 minutes to go in this race. Checking back up with the leaders. Burkhardt's done a good job. Catching back up to DJ Alessandrini. Now, question is, what do you do?
You might just want to wait with how the slipstream is. If you're close enough getting back onto the oval, I don't think you really need to pass him until you know you can hold him off until the start-finish line.
One other close battle I have to mention. I haven't really mentioned these drivers so far. Well, at least this driver in particular, Louis Alessi, in the 43 machine, has had a fairly quiet day. I haven't really mentioned him because everyone else ahead of him has had a very interesting day by comparison. Alessi doing a solid job in 5th at the moment. Jake King, who's had a up and down day trying to work his way back through the order, trying to get past 43.
And Alessi had a pretty slow lap. I think he spun in a backstretch chicane. Clean this time, though, as Jake King on a little bit of a recovery drive of his own, trying to get back into the top 5 in class.
We'll see the battle spicing up in the Miatas a little bit as well. Keep an eye on these guys. One of the closest battles on the track. Everything's kind of separated now. I think that the chaos has occurred and the dust is settled. Well, bigger gaps have emerged here. Really, the best battle is with your leaders in the Miata class.
Burkhardt has a little bit of right rear damage. I don't know where that came from. That happened a while ago, though, and that's probably why he might be struggling a little bit in the draft. Must have had maybe a tap of the wall coming out of the back straightaway. What the words? I can't words, but coming onto the oval, he hit that wall and it gave him that damage. But either way, he's still able to do all right and keep Alessandrini, but I think that's why it's important for him to stay behind DJ, because I don't think he can lead and win this race.
Yeah, I think you're gonna kind of want to be the guy in pursuit. I think those runs into chicanes are you get such a good run that it is kind of hard to stay the leader. And I'm curious if that is the plan for Burkhardt. If he's just gonna plan to wait, just kind of hang out here for the next 7 minutes till the white flag's out, then make that move, or maybe make it a lap or two earlier. We'll have to see, but definitely putting pressure on the 61 Alessandrini.
I think my strategy would be to wait till the final lap. I don't think he can fend off Alessandrini for a lap, but who knows what strategy might be. I think a strategy for now is to make sure he keeps the pressure on. If he can put DJ into a mistake, that would be great, as we look at Jake King, who has made that pass for that 5th position now over Louis Alessi.
Yep, so King now up into 5th. Don't think he's going to make a much more progress. He's got 10 seconds back to Andrew Rosencroft in the number 80 machine. Another driver who's had a fairly quiet day from 7th to 4th, just kind of keeping himself out of trouble. Actually, if he can continue on, he's got 4 seconds back. Trenton McMillian, also a quiet day for him in the 14 car, 6th to 3rd.
They're able to stay out of the chaos, and he's able to get potentially a podium finish if Rosencroft can't get there, which I don't think he will. Very even times between those two as we still look at this battle between the Miatas, which is not too far up the road from Todd Rushing, another driver. He was just able to avoid the chaos, and he's able to be rewarded with a second-place finish and a really solid, clean drive for him so far.
Yep, solid day, but he's got 20 seconds to Paul Darling, so safe to say it's going to be a torrent to try to catch back up at this point. Take a look back at the battle in the Miatas, DJ. Oh, and Burkhardt just into the wall. That might be all she wrote right there. I think his steering's messed up.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Santorini wanted a battle, but just a little bit too wide through one. You could tell he was pushing to try to stay with DJ. As you can see what happens here. Just hit the bumps wrong, really, and a little bit of dirty air. Not much in the Miata, but that's all it took.
Yeah, you can see the steering. Oh, yeah, look how much wheel he has to put just to go straight. He's got to put at least 45 degrees of steering to make that thing go in the right direction, so that he's going to have to come in for repairs. Oh, hits the wall again. And one simple mistake like that is going to take the two out of contention. And that also happened right in front of overall race leader Paul Darling, who's going to come up on DJ really quick here and put him a lap down.
I don't think Morgan's going to pit because so close to the end. He might just try to hang
I don't know
on.
if he... Well, I'm just saying, I don't even know. I feel like with that amount of damage, you're going to have a black flag. I mean, obviously, I'd say if he doesn't have to pit, if he doesn't have to pit, just stay out there and just kind of soldier it out. You're going to top 5 pretty much at this point. But, yeah, I don't know if he has the choice in that as Michael Leader works his way on around.
I luckily have access to see, but I don't think he has a black flag with the meatball on it. Fun fact, I only found out meatball was a real flag a few months ago, but still, Morgan Burkhardt is able to continue. He does not have it, but you can tell he probably wishes he had it because he cannot get through these chicanes.
I was going to say, you can check it in the entries tab. You can check if they do actually have a flag or not.
And he does not. Oh my goodness, he's really struggling. Caleb Patry is definitely going to get second from him. He's just about to come up to get him. As remember, what IndyCar race was it where the leader hit the wall with like 3 laps to go and Justin Wilson won? That's what this reminds me of because he is so on edge with a broken suspension.
Don't remember. I'm trying to remember who did that. Not quite sure. You look here, Patry coming up on Burkhardt here very quickly. Should be, in theory, an easy pass. There's Ken Alceo, who's not passed anybody. Actually, scratch, he has passed a few guys that have retired. No one on the racetrack that's still running.
It was Justin Wilson who hit the wall. Or not, it was Justin Wilson who won. It was Graham Rahal who hit the wall, I believe, to ruin his chances. That's what it reminds me of because he's just trying to hang on with no suspension really working, but it's not going to work out. He's got nothing to fight Caleb Patry with.
So I have to settle in behind him. Also has to make sure he slows down because that car cannot rotate quickly at all. From what we've seen. Oh, he's going to be careful here. He's going to get close to the wall. Ken O'Seal District trying to make sure he avoids getting any more damage to that 23.
He's still trying. Got to give him that.
Trying to look for some other battles. Not a whole lot going on the track at the moment. I think all the battles have kind of died down, which is kind of, I think we kind of felt was going to happen with how much attrition is at tracks like this.
Kyle Herbst did get by Louis Alesi just not too much longer ago as he's able to get up into the 6th position, trying to stay close to Jake King, but definitely won't get there in time.
I think that's Todd Rushing. No, that's not Todd Rushing. Who was that? Jonathan Crane in the 18 just ahead, almost got loose and spun, running in 9th place at the moment. Last of the Mustangs. Actually pulled down. Is he pulling to pit? No, just letting Kyle Hurst on by.
Just letting him by. Hasn't been the best of races. Wow, Hurst.
Oh, Crane.
Yeah, it really wasn't the best of races. I was literally about to say he kept the car clean at least, and he didn't do that. I didn't say it, so I'm not taking the blame, but it is unfortunate. That was a hard hit as we come to the end of this one.
commentator's curse even happens in your thoughts.
That shouldn't count. Come on.
Taking a look back up through the order, trying to just look at how everyone's doing. See if there's any other drivers you haven't mentioned. How about Andrew Pilato? Talk about a recovery drive. You know, he started in fourth. Started fourth in class. Is currently running still fourth in class. So, not much of an improvement for the number 96. But I mean, considering he managed to keep that car out of danger and did pass quite a few guys on the way here, I think solid effort.
I would say so, and it looks like he might have a chance of getting up Morgan Burkhardt. We'll have to see, as we will have, I believe, still 2 laps to go. Last time by, we didn't get the white flag, so he might have a really good chance of getting Pallotta. Or Pallotta has a chance of getting Burkhardt, excuse me. I think he's going to have enough time.
We'll see here. So take a look and ride with Burkhardt for a little bit, because you're trying to look through not a whole lot of cars close to each other at this point. I think it's just a matter now finishing now, making sure you don't put that car in the wall, or in the case of Burkhardt, don't damage it anymore. There's the gap to Andrew Pilato, trying to chase him down for that podium spot in the 96.
I think if this was the white flag, it would come down to the wire, but I don't think it's going to be really close because Burkhardt's 6 seconds, really 5 to 6 seconds slower, so Pallotta's going to have him maybe by the end of his lap even.
Keep an eye on that. Also keep an eye on the leader here. Paul Darling working his way through lap 20 of an estimated 21 laps. I think we might have another one here. Flagman's waving the white flag, but going to come to the line with 10 seconds remaining. So we'll see what it says. Technically, it shouldn't be the last lap. Oh, there it is, just popping up on the screen. So it is the final lap. White flag in the air. Paul Darling. One more lap to go for him.
I think if there's not enough time for if there's not enough time compared to the average lap, I don't think it will give you another lap. So it must be the case. So this is the final lap. Alessandro Girini is clear away for Validas. He takes his white flag as well into Miata.
Taking a look at Morgan Burkhardt. He's going to wish this was the last lap. He's going to drive this thing around for one more circuit, and at the rate he's going at, Pallotta should be able to catch him.
He should get him before they even get back onto the oval. I don't know if there's anything the two can really battle with. You can see how much he's struggling through the chicane specifically, as Pallotta's right there now.
You can see the difference, especially in the corners there in turn 1 in particular. Burkhardt, you just wish there was one last lap in this race. That would help them a lot. Pallotta going to work to the inside. Burkhardt is going to try to defend with that, with the car in the way it is. Can't do anything. Pallotta sneaks his way on by. Will grab 3rd place. Yeah, Burkhardt, I think it's safe to say Burkhardt's not really going to be able to do anything. I think he's going to try to have one last dig here as they go flying through turn 5 and 6. But these tight, slow corners, he's got nothing for the 96. Back up on the front. Paul Darling working his way around NASCAR turn 4 into the final chicane. It was a solid, easy drive for the 155. Kept the car out of danger, and he will win here at the Charlotte Roval. A little bit in behind him, DJ Alessandrini working the back straight, doing a little bit of bump drafting. Who's even bump drafting? Don't know who that is. 85?
Adam Kovac.
Adam Kovac. There you go. Was giving a bit of a bump draft. Not exactly sure why, but I guess no reason for needing to bump draft as they work their way through the final chicane. And DJ, also similar to Paul Darling, just kept the car out of danger and able to take it home. Solid win for the 61. Look a little bit further back. Caleb Patry working his way on through. Todd Rushing also just ahead. Todd Rushing second in class for the Mustangs. He's got a slowdown there. I'm not sure. Comes across the line slowly. Caleb Patry will come home second in class. Andrew Pallotta. Eventful day for the 96. A spin earlier on, able to recover that back up into 3rd. Morgan Burkhardt going to be disappointing at a 3rd place at least there up until that final lap.
As they're all going to try to jump the front stretch wall, as a few were successful, not many others were, as Alessandrini celebrates on his lid, as you would. As great wins for those guys. Paul Darling parks it in the infield, really dominating from Darling especially. He was able to get away with really no challenge for the race lead. Had it under control the entire time as Alessandrini got wrecked, but Paul Darling's able to do some donuts. Absolutely.
Here, and we go through your race results here in just a second. Actually, cut to Paul Darling. Didn't realize he was doing donuts. Take a look at him. Your overall race winner, burning it down here. Solid burnouts on the 150 file. Take a look at your race results here. Darling with the win, rushing in second. McMillian a solid third place for him. Rosencroft, J. King, Hurst, Alessi in leader, rounding out your Mustang field.
And then we get to the Miata field. At very top of it, Austin Journey had a battle for Morgan Burkhardt for a long time, but Burkhardt unfortunately couldn't hang, and he finishes up fourth. Burkhardt does. Patry and Pallotta benefit to get on the Miata podium, and then Andrew Chow in fifth. Donald Louie, we didn't talk about him. He gets sixth in class. Daner, Chrissy, Kobach, Hal Seal, the top 10. Unfortunate for Hal Seal, he was leading once he blew that engine. It was all over.
Yeah, we'll wait by here and see if anyone's going to be joining us for an interview here. We wrap up the results here from a fairly eventful race here in with the Mustangs and the Miatas, all doing battle around this tight track, very much like a street circuit. And I think you saw the attrition of what we usually see at some of the street circuits here on Sim TV. Although definitely can't argue these guys gave it their all, gave it their best shot all race long. And I guess while we're waiting, go over to the rest of the calendar. Not a whole lot left on the schedule for this season. We, in fact, got this regular season finale coming up on the 14th of December. We'll be heading to Lime Rock Park. That'll be next week. And the week after that, we have a non-points event at Long Beach. It'll be GT4 action from Long Beach, California. Let's also talk about street courses, very much like a street course. Hey, Connor, I actually didn't realize you were in the server.
Yeah, I did. I made it in here. I stumbled my way through here.
So just waiting on seeing if anyone's going to be joining us for any interviews. But I guess while we wait, your thoughts, Connor?
Just really exciting. I love this track. I think it races well with almost any car combo. I almost said car track combo. There's only one track, but this car track combo is one of my favorites because I just love the Mustangs, the way they bounce around, and the Miatas. I didn't think they bounced around a lot, but they bounced probably more than the Mustangs over those curbs. That was exciting to watch. Fun to see Paul Darling dominate. It was really awesome seeing the pace he had, and was fun seeing the top three, Allison Drini, Burkhardt, and Ken Alseal work together. And it looks like it was going to be a battle between those three, but Alseal, the unfortunate quick downshift, I believe, is what blew his engine. Unfortunately, took him out of it. Then Morgan Burkhardt taking himself out of it was unfortunate, but it was gearing up to be really great racing, and especially through the Miata field, we had a lot of great racing and close action through the chicanes. Really fun night.
It looks like we got someone to interview. We got Caleb Patry waiting for an interview. Caleb, nice to talk to you in the 988. You weren't quite up there in some of the battles near the end there, but still managed to sneak your way through to a second place finish in the Miatas. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, well, going into this, Rovals really aren't my forte, and I obviously I knew I did not have the pace of those front runners, so my plan was just kind of to, hopefully hang on the draft, and most importantly, just survive. And lost the draft early on, and looked like I had a gap to the guys behind, so it was just kind of, keep it clean and hope the guys ahead find trouble.
Yeah, I think you definitely saw that a lot of the guys ahead of you did find quite a bit of trouble. Particularly walk us through the curbs. We saw you guys, particularly you, DJ, and a lot of the other guys just absolutely nailing the curbs across, especially in the chicanes. Obviously this car, it's built with a suspension that can handle those curves. Were there ever any times where you felt like you might have been hopping them a little bit too aggressively, or was that kind of the meta? Was that the best way to go?
Well, certainly those curbs were tricky. They were very easy to hit wrong, and when you hit them wrong, they were so easy to hit a wall or go offline. But when you hit them right, it could be very fast. So it was, I don't know. There were a few times where I felt I hit those curbs right, but I don't know. It was pretty tricky to do so.
Well, either way, you managed to get yourself a solid second place finish, Caleb. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck next week for the last race of the season.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, and that was your second place finisher, Caleb Patry. Still waiting to see if anyone else is planning on jumping on. I don't see anybody else waiting. So, Connor, I know you asked your final thoughts already, but any closing remarks from you?
Just once again, a fun racetrack. It'd be very interesting to see these things tackle the old backstretch chicane, or maybe even the alternate layout where they have those extra turns in the infield. But either way, I love the way Miata's race, and I love the way the Mustangs race. Putting those two together in two separate classes was a very good decision, and I love the racing tonight.
Absolutely, and I love the racing tonight as well. And if you like the racing from tonight here at home, you can again tune into next week. Like I mentioned, will be the last race of this season, points-wise. Will be from Lime Rock Park on the 14th. And so we have then we have the Long Beach event, and after that, GT4's non-points event there afterwards. Again, from SimTV here, my name is Finney Kuna here with Connor Horn. We'll be signing out for tonight. Thank you for watching.